on Broadcasting Sports.
A slow whirler, going to be a tough play. Hunsley, bare hands on the bounce, a throw. He got him. What a play from Grayson Hunsley on the bare hand.
It's time for Post 8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Post 8 Baseball is brought to you by Comtech, True Green Chemelon, Edward Jones Financial, Overhead Doors, Todd's Electric, Shane's Pharmacy, Jaeger, AGE, First Fidelity, and State Farm Becky Pottsaba Agency.
This will be flown out by Charlie Simpson out to left field. Going back, it is gone! Charlie Simpson hits a two-run home run, and it's a 3-2 ball game.
Post 8 Baseball is also brought to you by Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Oahe Federal Credit Union, Missouri River Dentistry, Dakota Sprinkler and Landscaping, Agtegra, Farting Electric, Envirotech, and Kruger Climate Systems.
Here's a line shot out and towards left center field, diving and making the catch out in center is Sun and Shine. And a tip of the cap from the head coach.
Post 8 Baseball is also brought to you by Stalkin Peterson LLP, Wagner Auto, the South Dakota Office of Attorney General, Division of Consumer Protection, Gales Gas, First United Methodist Church, Karsten Erickson Roofing and Construction, Beck Motors, and May Adam.
Gets with a fly ball to left field. That one is going back to the wall. It's out of here. A 3-run homer for Dawson Getz. And it's a 4-0 lead for the Eights.
And by American Family Insurance Brittany Scheffelbein Agency, Lamb Motors, Bank West, CHS River Plains, Faith Lutheran Church, Graham Tire, Kathy's Sunshine Properties, Venture Communications, and the American of Fort Pierre. And now, Post 8 Baseball on KCCR.
Hello everyone and welcome to this very special edition of Post 8 Baseball on KCCR. Tonight we are live in East River for perhaps the biggest Post 8 game in 3 years as Pierre plays in their first South Dakota State Tournament game since 2022 against the host team, Watertown Post 17. Dylan Simmons with you tonight at Watertown Stadium for what could end up being a masterpiece of a game between two teams that are itching for a chance.
Comtech, locally owned and serving Pierre and surrounding areas since 2009, is dedicated to keeping your home, farm, and secure. We offer a full range of services, from audio and video, security, surveillance, and networking with expert installation and support. Visit our storefront, call us at 605-224-4066, or visit our website, comtechplus.com, to experience the Comtech difference. Comtech, your local technology experts.
Hey, yo, Speedo's Lawn Care.
Hello. Say, my yard's in rough shape. It's got weeds, brown spots, and crabgrass.
Yeah, no problemo. What shade of green you need? We got 31 shades of green over here. Even the latest shade of septic tank grass green. That one just naturally gives off a glow.
Call the professionals at True Green. They know how to get your lawn healthy and keep it healthy. They guarantee it. All technicians are trained and certified.
Call True Green, 224-1916.
All right, sorry about that, folks. I think we finally got sound now. We should be good to go. Now we are ready to go for Pierre Post 8 Baseball on KCCR. As I was saying just a second ago, Dylan Simmons with you tonight at Watertown Stadium for what could end up being a masterpiece of a game between two teams that are itching for a chance to put themselves among the elite of our great Mount Rushmore state. Pierre Post 8 has not been in this position since 2022 when they last played state tournament baseball. However, in 2025, under second-year coach River Iverson, they have avoided the rapids on the river that can sometimes derail a season to become the team they needed to be to get here. That is not to say that there have not been ups and downs, though, and that is to be expected with a young team still finding their footing in this modern landscape. It could be argued that of all the teams in the field this year, Post 8 is perhaps the biggest wild card of them all. They can beat anyone, but they can just as easily beat themselves, and that kind of unpredictability makes them must-watch for better or worse. Now they have a chance to prove just what their potential is against a team they know very well. Watertown Post 17 is another team looking to crack the elite echelon of teams in the state of South Dakota. Last year was a huge step forward as the Arrows got their first state tournament win since 2016 and got 2 to boot. Now a new year has given them new optimism and hope as they have not only made the state tournament, but are hosting the state tournament in their home ballpark for the first time in 35 years. Few teams in the state have been able to handle this Watertown squad, who has suffered just one series loss in South Dakota play. However, their last loss and one of their 2 series splits this year came against this Post 8 team just 2 weeks ago back at Hyde Stadium. Whether or not Hyde Stadium helped contribute to that is up for some debate, but one thing is for sure, Watertown will be looking to wash out the 8s here tonight. A little more history if it's needed in this one. It was Watertown who knocked out the Pierre Governors in May from the high school baseball state tournament at Hyde Stadium. Perhaps that will give Pierre just a little bit more motivation here tonight. Right now, we are just awaiting the opening ceremonies to get underway, and it looks like it is indeed time to do that. So we're going to send it field side for opening ceremonies. We'll stay right here with the action, so stay locked in, folks.
This year marks the centennial season of American Legion Baseball, and South Dakota is proud to be the birthplace of this national institution. Our nightcap features the visiting team on the scoreboard, Pierre Post 8. And the home team on the scoreboard, the Arrows of Watertown Post 17. Let's meet the teams, beginning with the visitors from Pierre. We'll introduce first the reserves, then the starters for Post 8. Number 5, Will Danberg. Number 20, Parker O'Brien.
While they're introducing lineups, we'll go over the starting lineup in our own right. We will start with Pierre Post 8's lineup tonight. Carter Shufflebuying will lead off. Sutton Sun and Shine will be at the number 2 spot, presumably in left field. Dawson Getz will be the shortstop. Cooper Terwilliger is at first base. Charlie Simpson is the catcher. And it looks like Ridge Linebach will be on the mound tonight for Pierre. We were speculating about that this morning on the KCCR morning show, and it looks like it will indeed be Linebach. Porter Hunsley is in center field, Trevor Rounds in right field, Hudson Stosher will be the third baseman for Post 8 today. Grayson Hunsley unable to go in tonight's action, so it will indeed be Hudson Stosher, it appears, who will take over that third base spot for the duration, possibly, of this state tournament. As they welcome Cooper Terwilliger to the baseball diamond. Post 8 wearing their green shirts, green hats, white pants combination tonight. Watertown is going to be in all white with purple caps. Now, another disclaimer for those of you who may be wondering where the video is on the YouTube stream. We are not allowed to stream this video-wise on YouTube. We can do an audio broadcast. That's why we've got just the graphic here tonight. So if you're wondering where the video is, that is the explanation. We are not allowed currently under the setup to run a video broadcast. So it's purely audio tonight, but rest assured we're going to give you our best possible coverage of not just this game, but the entirety of Pierre Post 8's run in the state tournament, which we hope will culminate with a state baseball championship. So Post 8 has made their way out to the diamond, and now we will meet the host team, the number 3 seed in the state, with a large home contingent here tonight, the Watertown Post 17 Arrows.
Reserves, number 4, Carter Bisker.
Hayden Reese is going to be leading off tonight for Watertown. The third baseman, Mitch Olson. Keep an eye on him, folks. He has been unbelievable this year. One of the best batters in the state. He'll be in right field. Marcus Pitkin, it looks like, will be the catcher. Nathan Briggs will be the shortstop. Caden Rylance, the South Dakota State commit, a superstar both behind the plate and on the mound, will be on the mound and in the order tonight for Watertown. Jonathan Lake will be in center field. Trayton Himmerick will be the second baseman. Talon Jurgens will be the first baseman, and Cole Hansen will be in left field for Watertown post 17 in this game. A little bit of thunder out in the distance, but it's well away from the ballpark, and it almost is fitting for the storm of baseball action we are about to see and hear right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. We're going to let the opening ceremonies finish up. We'll take a 2-minute timeout and be right back to Watertown with the state baseball tournament. Pierre post 8 versus Watertown post 17. You're listening to KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
When you're looking for quality trash pickup services, look no further than Envirotech. 6 days a week, their trucks are on the road picking up trash, even holidays. They're also the place to contact for recycling services. Their friendly, professional staff is ready to assist with weekly pickups or even special pickups. Check out the website at envirotechwaste.com. Envirotech is locally operated. Call 224-4804. Envirotech Waste Services in Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
When life throws you a curveball, May Adam Law Firm in Pierre is here to help you knock it out of the park. For over 130 years, we've been providing trusted legal expertise in business, family law, criminal defense, and more. Proud sponsors of this season's baseball action, we're committed to serving our community both on and off the field. Need legal advice? Step up to the plate with May Adam Law Firm. Visit mayadam.net or call today. May Adam, South Dakota's law firm since 1881.
With any dream, the wind won't always be at your back, the sun won't always be shining, and some rain is going to fall. American Family Insurance is like a good, solid roof that you can trust to protect your biggest dreams. With plans that could save you up to 23% when you bundle your home and auto. Also, you can continue to dream fearlessly, no matter what comes your way. American Family Insurance.
Visit mfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company assigned its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Contact the Brittany Scheffelbein Agency, LLC, 224-6627.
Looking for your next new or used car, truck, or SUV? Then go no further than the comfort of your own home. Shop online at lambmotor.com. On lambmotor.com, you'll find the vehicles Lambs has in stock. You can schedule a test drive or your vehicle's next tune-up all online. New or used, shop for it all online, anywhere you are. Lamb Motor has the right vehicle for you. Lamb Motor in Oneida and online, lambmotor.com.
Welcome back. This is Post-Day Baseball on KCCR. We now go field side for opening ceremonies.
Keep faith with my teammates. Keep my temper. Keep myself fit. Keep a stout heart in defeat. Keep my pride under in victory. Keep a sound soul, a clean mind, and a healthy body.
Please remain standing and honor the flag beyond the fence in left field for our national anthem, which is to be performed by Annie Strickers.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in
A tremendous and thunderous edition of the national anthem here at the Watertown Baseball Stadium. The sun's getting low in the sky, things are getting darker, the lights are out, and we are just about set for what should be maybe the best state tournament game thus far, and that is a high standard to live up to. There's already been quite a few shockers today in the South Dakota State Baseball Tournament. And of course, we will update you on all of the results throughout the broadcast. And depending on if Pierre wins or loses will determine who they will play tomorrow. They are at least guaranteed to play tomorrow. If they were to lose today and in tomorrow's game, that would eliminate them from the state tournament. This is a double elimination bracket. But if Post State wins tonight, then they are guaranteed to play both tomorrow and on Thursday. So that is what's at stake. It's not do or die time yet for Pierre Post State, but you certainly do want to win tonight to put yourself in the best possible position going into whatever's next. So Pierre Post State has all of that and more on the table in this Legion baseball action. And again, this is their first time playing in the state tournament in 3 seasons. So it has been a long time coming for Pierre Post State. And the excitement, while big, is also something that you got to keep under control at this very point in time. You don't want to get too caught up in the emotion of the moment. That's what Pierre Post State has to juggle well. We'll get this thing underway here in just a second. Post State will be leading off with Carter Shufflebein here in the top half of the first inning. Pierre Post State is the visiting team. Watertown is the home team. Here we go. State tournament action for Pierre. And the first pitch by Caden Rylance is going to be in. That's going to be a ball. Counts 1-0, just a little bit outside. Carter Shufflebein, a guy that you definitely can rely on in these situations. Rylance's second pitch, a little outside as well. Counts 2-0. Rylance, of course, has plenty of experience with Pierre Post State. Lost to them in the first game of the doubleheader back on July 11th. As the pitcher, South Dakota State Jackrabbit commit. He will play for the Jackrabbits in 2026, but for right now, he's got to worry about Pierre Post State. Rylance, fastball, Shufflebein swings and misses, counts 2-1, and there's the first big ovation from this very stacked Watertown home crowd here at the Watertown Baseball Stadium. That pitch is a little high and outside, counts 3-1. Crowd didn't quite agree with it. Post State will take it. Shufflebein, one of the best at recognizing where pitches are located, and that's ball 4. And Shufflebein sprinting to first base. He wanted to set the tone, and that's a good way to do exactly that, forcing the walk on Rylance. And the South Dakota State commit has put a runner on base with the very first batter of the game. Sutton Sunshine will be the next man up. He'll be working as the right fielder in this game. So I misspoke earlier when I said he'd be in left. He's actually going to be in right. Looks like Trevor Rounds in that case will be in left. Unless something changes. That pitch is high. Count goes to 1-0. Again, no video tonight or throughout the duration of the state tournament, but we've got it here in audio form. There's strike 1. Count goes to 1-1. Rylance, tremendous amount of experience this year. 81 and a third innings pitch between Watertown's season in high school and in Legion. That is foul back by Sutton Sunshine. Count goes to 1-2. Rylance with a 1.29 earned run average combined in that entire time, 139 strikeouts. He is, no question, the ace of the staff for this post-17 team. And that is a swing and a miss for Sutton Sunshine. And the first of what will likely be many strikeouts in the game for Caden Rylance comes against Sunshine, who enters the game with a .345 average, 38 hits, 6 doubles, but struck out swinging that time on a Rylance fastball. One down here in the top of the first. Here's a throw back to first, trying to dispatch of Carter Shufflebein was Rylance, unable to do so. First baseman is Talon Juergens. Trayton Hemerick is the second baseman. Nathan Briggs is the shortstop. Hayden Reese is at third base, Cole Hansen in left field, Jonathan Lake in center, Mitch Olson, top batter on the team in right, And behind the plate, it's Marcus Pitkin. Count here's 1-0. And that's in for a strike. Count evens at 1-1. It's interesting the way the crowds are set up. Watertown is mostly towards the first base side. Swing and a miss here by Dawson Getz. Count goes to 1-2. While the post-8 contingent mostly towards the left. But despite the great amount of people who have come from the capital city, make no mistake about it, Watertown has the crowd advantage on their side. That's what Pierre Post-8 didn't have to contend with the first time they played them. Getz with a bouncing ball to the right side, and that's picked up by the first baseman. And tagging the bag is Talon Jurgens for out 2. Sends Carter Shufflebine on to second, but Getz is retired with the unassisted out. That'll send on Cooper Terwilliger, the next man up. And Coop, as they call him, well, he's been a great story for Pierre Post-8 this year. One of those guys that just continues to improve game in, game out. 372 average. Had the best batting average on the Govs. Lets this pitch go by for a strike. Count goes to 0-1. Brought that same energy to Pierre Post-8. 2 hits in game number 1 versus Watertown, by the way. Had 1 run in that game as well, so he knows how to get success against Rylance, but he'll swing and miss at that pitch. And you can tell that Rylance is really working fast, trying to put pressure on Terwilliger and Post-8, put them in a bad situation. And that is gonna be a ball. And these Watertown fans thought for sure that was strike 3. Terwilliger with great recognition to not swinging that high fastball. It was a little bit outside. 1-2, 2 away. Bouncing ball to first, and this will be picked up easily by Jurgens for the unassisted third out. So a little dribbler goes nowhere for Cooper Terwilliger. That's out 3 here in the top of the first, and your score is 0-0 between Pierre and Watertown. Back with more South Dakota State Baseball tournament action right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports in 1 minute.
No one likes to have electrical problems, but when they happen, call Tons Electric at 223-2518. With over 28 years of experience, Tons Electric can handle any type of electrical problem, whether it's residential, commercial, or agricultural. Their knowledgeable staff knows and understands the importance of your home, business, or ag facility and are prepared to help. Call Tons Electric at 223-2518. That's 223-2518. Tons Electric, serving the Pierre and Fort Pierre areas. The line to power.
Financial investments are very important, but so are the investments of time, patience, and encouragement our young athletes receive from their coaches, teachers, and mentors. Your Pierre area Edward Jones Financial Advisors understand this. That's why Edward Jones is a proud sponsor of Governor Athletics on KCCR. Go Govs! For all your investment needs, call or stop by one of our offices to visit with your Pierre area Edward Jones Financial Advisor. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back. This is Pierre Post-8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports, bringing you the South Dakota Baseball State Tournament live from the Watertown Baseball Stadium tonight. Grand finale game here on day number 1 of state tournament action is so far deadlock at 0-0. Pierre Post-8 coming up empty in the top half of the first inning. But that just means that their defense will get their chance to shine, and they will be led by Ridge Leinbach, the man on the mound. There was a lot of discussion about who would be the opening starter for Post-8 in this state tournament season, and it looks like it will indeed be Leinbach, who's been ultra reliable from the mound, not just with Post-8, but also with the Pierre Governors earlier on this year, where he was arguably the best pitcher. 20 innings pitched total, 1-1 record, 30 strikeouts, and a .70 earned run average, most strikeouts as well on the team. 250 average, 3 hits as well, 6 innings pitched, and 11 strikeouts in the playoffs. So he's already had success against Huron in the regional round, and now he'll get a chance to show it from the mound in the state tournament. His first test will be Hayden Reese, man with a .313 average throughout the total seasons for Post-17 and Watertown. And I say seasons because the stats that we have include Watertown's time in the high school season, so you have to take that with a grain of salt. Still very impressive stats when you combine the two. That's a foul ball and strike number 2. Count goes to 0-2 on Reese. Reese is the third baseman. Had 2 hits, 2 runs in game number 1 versus Pierre back on July 11th. But he didn't have to face Ridge Leinbach. Here is a softly hit ball. Leinbach there to scoop it up, throws over to first for the easy first out. Pretty routine 1-3 on Hayden Reese. 1 down here in the bottom half of the first, and those are the kinds of easy plays that Ridge Leinbach and Post 8 will need more of as this game progresses. Here comes a man who can put Post 8 in the danger zone. Mitch Olson, .427 average, 54 ribbies on the season as he fouls this one off. 62 runs, 85 hits, leads the team in almost every conceivable category hitting-wise, and he's also a lefty, just to add more to the issue. Leinbach places this pitch a little bit outside. Count goes to 1-1. Leinbach delivers the fastball, and that was hit off of Olson for a foul. Count goes to 1-2. Went off of Olson's bat and then got him, just to avoid any confusion of a hit-by-pitch situation for those listening in. Don't have you to see it tonight, so I have to make sure I describe it for you. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast so far. Counts 1-2. Leinbach. Was that a hit-by-pitch? It was. Looks like it may have caught Olson in the lower right leg. Hard to say for sure, but either way, it got him. So he's on to first base with an HBP. And Leinbach, who was trying to really load up that fastball, just caught a piece of Olson and allows him to become the first base runner for Watertown here tonight. Sends on Marcus Pitkin, number 22. Big man behind the plate, .311 average, 38 RBIs on the season, and he sends one sky high in the infield. Shufflebine wants it, and he eventually does take it. Was a little more dramatic than it had to be. Cooper Terwilliger was also coming over. Both were trying to get a look at it. Eventually, Shufflebine said, let me take care of this, and that's what he did. 2 away here in the bottom of the first, and again, another easy out that Post 8 needs to keep Watertown at bay. Nathan Briggs is the next man up, .291 average on the season, 44 hits. Watertown as a team right now batting .300, .427 on base percentage as Leinbach fires in a ball. Count goes to 1-0. .427, as I mentioned, on base percentage. 489 hits as Leinbach places that one a little bit high. Almost caught Briggs in the noggin rather. Nathan Briggs with a 2-0 count, 2 down. Again, the runner at first is Olson. And Leinbach again puts that one wide. Counts 3-0. He's favoring that outside corner right now, and he just can't quite get to it. So now a 3-0 pitch. And that's ball 4. A rare 4-pitch walk and a base on balls for Nathan Briggs. Not something you usually see Ridge Leinbach do. So he's now delivered a hit by pitch and a walk in this bottom half of the first. And I said it at the top of the broadcast, but the one thing that can really beat Pierre more than anything else outside of obviously the opposing team is themselves. By making mistakes that are self-inflicted, doing things that they wouldn't normally do in a given situation. That's what they have to avoid, especially in this kind of environment with a home crowd that will eat mistakes they make alive. Here comes Caden Rylance, and the Jackrabbit sends one into left field for a base hit. This is going to score a run for Watertown. It's an RBI single for Caden Rylance as Mitch Olson comes home. 1-0 Arrows as this crowd is on their feet and revving it up. 2-out RBI single for Rylance, who wasted no time in his first trip to the plate to put his team on top of the heap here. Runners at first and second for Watertown post 17, and most importantly, the advantage here at home. Jonathan Lake will be the next man up, and he's hoping for a tsunami right here. Lake lets it go by, pitches high, counts 1-0. And again, this Watertown crowd will feed off of this momentum, especially if they get an early lead. That is not the place that Post 8 wants to find themselves in. You really want to try to take this crowd out of it if you can. This is very likely the biggest crowd that Post 17's had this season, and you don't want them to start getting raucous. Counts 2-0. Leinbach just caught the edge of the corner. Count goes to 2-1. Nice pitch towards the outside corner by Leinbach. Got the fastball to work for him that time. He'll have to try to do that again right here. Counts 2-1. And he placed that one wide of the zone. Looks like that one was a little bit high. So now a 3-1 pitch, and if you're Leinbach, you really do not want to load the bases in this spot. That's what Lake will be looking to do. And time called by Lake, wants to take a second to think about it. Watertown entering the postseason with a 9-game winning streak. They haven't lost since July 11th against Post 8. That also on the line here tonight. And that's ball 4. That is the second walk issued by Ridge Leinbach in this bottom half of the first. Gave one to Nathan Briggs, now gives one to Jonathan Lake. And for the first time tonight, the bases are juiced. Trayton Hemmerich will be the next man up, the second baseman. You've got Nathan Briggs in the hot corner. Caden Rylance is at second base, and Jonathan Lake is at first base. Low pitch by Leinbach. That's ball 1, and now perhaps the pressure of the situation really starting to set in. But Leinbach, usually very composed on the mound, doesn't let the circumstances get to him too much as a lightning bolt goes off in the distance. Looks like that was still fairly far away. Tough to tell exactly where that's striking at. So, and now time called. Count goes to 2-0. Looks like River Iverson wants to take a moment to talk about it with Ridge Leinbach. I doubt we'll see any sort of pitching change here early, but this is definitely a situation where you don't want things to get out of hand more than they already are, because you're looking at a 1-0 deficit right now, and if you let that get any worse, especially in this environment with this crowd, I don't think that Post 8 would feel good about their chances of coming back. Maybe if it was a different team, but you've got, looks like hundreds of screaming Watertown fans who will be looking for you to give up a few runs right here, and I think that's what that was all about from River Iverson. Let's talk this over, think about it, and not let the moment overtake us. Ridge Leinbach, he's been in situations like these all his career, and he's found ways to deliver, and that's a good start. Gets a low strike, count goes to 2-1. He'll need to do more of that to hold Watertown at bay. Trayton Hemmerich this season, 276 average, 16 RBIs, 34 total runs scored. And there's strike 2. Now Leinbach maybe settling in a little bit. A couple of good fastballs, brings the count to 2-2. He's got a chance for a big inning-ending strikeout right here if he can get this one past Hemmerich. Leinbach takes his time with this one. There's that fastball, and he placed it low. Ball 3. Not hyperbole to say this is a potential game-defining full count right here for Trayton Hemmerich and Ridge Leinbach. Full pitch, a strike here ends the inning. Leinbach, bouncing ball fouled, and that'll keep the count full at 3-2. Good catch by the third base coach for Watertown. Get a nice ovation from the crowd. Not a lot of wind here in Watertown tonight. That should help the flow of the baseball, especially when it gets drilled into the air, but Leinbach hoping that does not become a factor right here. 3-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. And that is the kind of poise under pressure that Ridge Leinbach is going to have to show in this game. He takes out Trayton Hemmerich, leaves the bases juiced, but Watertown does go on top by a score of 1-0. Caden Rylance, the Jackrabbit, hopping his way to an RBI single. We'll be back in 1 minute's time with more post-8 baseball action. 8's looking for a response. You're listening to KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Stolken Peterson LLP has been your local CPA firm for over 40 years, offering tax preparation, bookkeeping, payroll, and consulting services. If your business, farm, or ranch needs professional, accurate, and reliable services, we are your firm. Our clients are our #1 priority. If you need a higher level of accounting service, give us a call at 605-224-5828. That's Stolken Peterson LLP, 222 East Missouri Avenue in Pierre.
Swing for the fences with a great deal from Capital City Ford Lincoln Toyota in Pierre. Whether you need a powerful truck, a fuel-efficient sedan, or a spacious SUV, they've got the perfect lineup to keep you on the road and in the game. Don't strike out. Stop by today or visit CapitalCityFordToyota.com. Capital City Ford Lincoln Toyota, where the best deals in town are always in play.
Welcome back. This is Post 8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. High octane energy here at Watertown Baseball Stadium. Hilariously contrasted with the playing of Baby Shark, but it's become sort of a baseball tradition at this point in time, so you kind of just got to roll with it and let the song fly, right? Post 8 down 1-0 to Watertown. Post 17, Caden Rylance with the RBI single in the bottom of the first, but it could have been a whole lot worse. Ridge Leinbach with one of the biggest strikeouts of his career, able to leave the bases juiced for Watertown and keep the score at what it is. Simpson at the plate, going up against Rylance, who's also on the mound, already has a strikeout and delivers a strike here. Count is 0-1. Rylance has been dialed in so far, to say the least, and the thing about Rylance is he works quick. Places this pitch a little bit wide. Count goes to 1-1. Got some scouts here tonight from different colleges, it looks like, as well. Just checking out the scenery, and why wouldn't they? Some of the best talents in the state of South Dakota. You're going to get some eyes on that from all kinds of levels. Looking at potential college superstars here. Counts 1-2, softly hit ball by Simpson. It's going to be a race to the bag. The throw is in time. Good recovery by Pitkin, able to get it to Talon Jurgens and get the out on Charlie Simpson. It's the rare 2-3 put away, and that's one down here in the top half of the second inning. And that was a really good job by Marcus Pitkin to get to that baseball just in the nick of time, and he didn't over pursue it either and make a mistake. So now Leinbach gets his chance, pitcher versus pitcher right here. Count is 1-0. Leinbach, .333 average on the season, and he was incredible against Rylance his last time out. 3 hits, 2 RBIs in game number 1. Tied for the most RBIs on the team. He scored 29 total on the season. Counts 1-1. And he's got one high and deep to right field. Racing after it is Olsen, and he makes the catch in foul ground. Wow. Tremendous catch by Mitch Olsen. He had to race after that baseball to get to it in time. He did exactly that. And that is a very unfortunate fly out for Ridge Leinbach. Got a good handle into that baseball. Probably the most well hit of any baseball we've seen in this game. But Leinbach couldn't get enough of a charge into it. It's 312 to right field here at Watertown Baseball Stadium. 384 to right center, 372 to left, 324, or 372, I should say, to left center, 324 to dead left field. At the plate now for post 8, Porter Hunsley, as he lets that pitch come in low. Count is 2-0. Watertown, the 5th biggest city by population in the state of South Dakota, as I learned earlier today. First time I've ever been to Watertown, and I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Great place for baseball action. This is the first time they've hosted this tournament in 35 years, and although the Watertown Baseball Stadium has been standing for over a century. It is a tremendous venue for this historic baseball tournament. Counts 2-1. And there's a strike for Rylance. Count goes to 2-2. Porter Hunsley on the ropes here, trying to avoid being an inning-ending K. Hunsley slaps this one foul. It goes towards the Watertown dugout. Count stays at 2-2. Porter Hunsley, 232 average, 6 RBIs, 16 hits. He's also had 31 1/3 innings pitched on the season. Could expect to see him at some point in this state tournament as that pitch is high from Rylance. Counts 3-2. Porter Hunsley trying to dig in deep for a big full count. Payoff pitch. And that is going to be a swing and a miss. It was sort of a half swing from Hunsley, but he did go around, and Rylance able to catch Hunsley in a very disadvantageous position for his second strikeout, and that sends us to the bottom of the second. Post 8 gets 1-2-3'd by Rylance, and the score remains 1-0. Back for the bottom of the second, Watertown looking to extend their lead in 1 minute's time right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
Becky Potsaba and State Farm Insurance are here to help you with your insurance and banking needs. State Farm's not just insurance. It's banking, investments, IRAs, loans, and a whole lot more. We offer guidance in a personal and caring way that helps you manage the risks of everyday life, recover from the unexpected, and find ways to control costs so you can realize your dreams. We know how life is, and we're here for you. Stop in to see Becky at 1315 East Wells Avenue in Pierre, or call Becky at 224-173.
Welcome back to Post 8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. We've reached the bottom half of the second inning. Post 8 down 1-0 to the Watertown. Post 17 Arrows. Swing and a miss here for Talon Jurgens. Ridge Leinbach on the mound. Count currently at 0-1. He had an up and down bottom of the first, but delivered a massive strikeout with the bases loaded. And that brief timeout that head coach River Iverson took to talk things over with Leinbach. Don't mean to be too much of a hyperbole here, but it could have very well saved the game, because if Post 8 gives up a few more runs right there, it may feel like an untenable situation. Wouldn't have been able to overcome that deficit. Instead, the game is still very much within reach. Counts 1-2. And Leinbach gets the punch out. He ended the bottom of the first in the same fashion, and he starts the bottom of the second the same way. A strikeout looking this time on Talon Jurgens. One down here in the bottom of the second. 2 total Ks for Leinbach in this game. Best strikeout master in the Post 8 squadron. Cole Hansen, the man at the plate. He's showing bunt. Tries to lay it down and ends up fouling it off of his own body. Counts 0-1. Had no role models as his walkout song, as a little more lightning flashes in the far distance. Those storms moving south of here, probably out towards Brookings and Sioux Falls if I had to make any guesses, but thankfully it looks like the precipitation is going to stay away from Watertown. And that's the best news, as Leinbach delivers even more good news for Post 8 fans. Yet another strike on Hansen. 281 average on the season, 11 RBIs, but in trouble here. He will foul this one towards the Post 17 dugout. Watertown 46-25 from where they started earlier this season in high school action to where they are now. 24-13 overall in the Legion season, and Cole Hansen gets struck out. So Leinbach, who was having significant issues in the bottom of the first, all of a sudden, well, it's like that old meme once said. I think he's got his swagger back. 3 strikeouts now here in just the bottom half of the second inning, and we're not done yet. as we go back to the top of the order to Hayden Reese. Watertown again, 20-5 in South Dakota play this season. They only lost one series. Just one series in South Dakota play, as that pitch is low for a ball. That being to, of course, Post 22, the Hard Hats, the favorite to win the state tournament, but they had significant trouble with their rivals, Rapid City Post 320, earlier on today. Again, we'll get the full results on that as soon as we can. For some of you who can use your good friend the internet, you might be able to find out now. Count goes to 1-2. I haven't had a chance to check. I was in the car the entire time on the way here, and I was setting up before we got on the air. Counts 1-2. Here's a bouncing ball to the third baseman, and Hudson Stosher couldn't handle it cleanly. It's going to be an E5 that puts Reese on first base, and Hudson Stosher, not usually in that position, put in that spot due to Grayson Hunsley's absence, and you wondered if that may play a role at some point in this game, and that's exactly what just happened. A routine bouncing ball that Stosher just missed on. So Mitch Olson, the next man up, and this is where Leimbach has really got to be careful and try to shut this thing down quick. You do not want to give Olson any kind of breathing room. Good work by Simpson to keep that low pitch in front of him. Counts 1-0, almost a wild pitch that would have easily advanced Reese onto second base. Counts 1-0. Night beginning to fall here in Watertown, South Dakota. Reese is going. Simpson is going to throw on to second. The throw is not going to make it in time. Dawson Getz did a good job of just getting in front of that baseball, but it'll be a stolen base for Reese here in the bottom half of the second. And the count is going to be 2-0. So that'll again give Marcus Pitkin, or rather, excuse me, Olson is also now on first base, so he actually took the opportunity to go on to first base in the midst of that. Didn't even see that. So Olson able to take first base in his own right. So Olson now on, and now it's Pitkin at the plate. Sometimes you look at one part of the field and forget about the other part. So the count instead is 1-0. Pitkin at the plate, runners at first and second for Watertown. Score 1-0. Post 17 on top. Post 8 right now still very much in striking distance. And the biggest thing they've done is they have not had the really crucial error, but this inning could have been over if Hudson Stosher handled that baseball cleanly a second ago. And now Ridge Leimbach with a 3-0 count, and we're back to where we were in the bottom half of the first, in danger of having the bases loaded. And it's not a situation that Leimbach wants to be in, obviously. Pitkin popped one up to second his last time. And Leimbach can't paint the outside corner. That's ball 4. Bases juice for Watertown for the second time in this game. The third walk issued by Ridge Leimbach in the early going. It's been something that he has had issues with at points this year, and it's really becoming prevalent right now. Nathan Briggs to the plate, and you really want to retire Briggs if you're Leimbach. You do not want to let Mitch Olson, or excuse me, Caden Rylance to the plate, especially considering what he's already done. Counts 1-0 as Leimbach placed that one a little bit outside. Leimbach. Simpson almost lost the handle of that baseball. That's ball 2. Had to work just to keep it in front of him. And Iverson can't just come out once again, but it looks like Simpson is going to. He wants to take a moment to again talk to Leimbach and maybe give him a moment, settle down, settle in a little bit. We saw how that worked in the bottom half of the first, and perhaps it can happen again here in the bottom half of the second. That remains to be seen, but Ridge Leimbach is trying to once again kind of find his wits, so to speak. It's 8 o'clock here at KCCR Pierre, a Riverfront broadcasting station. This is Post 8 baseball on KCCR, bottom half of the second in the state tournament, game number 1. Post 8 versus Watertown, Post 17, and Leimbach able to get on the same page with his catcher and get a strike. Counts 2-1. Trying to leave the bases loaded for the second time in this game is Leimbach. And that's going to help. It's foul towards the post 17 dugout. Count goes to 2-2. He ended the inning with Trayton Hemerick on a strikeout in the bottom of the first. Now can he do the same to Nathan Briggs? Remember, Briggs reached on a walk his last time up. Leinbach, all eyes on him. And he's going to take a moment. Called time for a second, now trying to get his bearings. Here's the 2-2. And that's ball 3. Well inside, almost caught Briggs. So now a massive payoff pitch. And this is where those years of pitching practice, all the lessons you've learned from your career as a senior, this is where you hope they conglomerate together. That's ball 4, and a run's gonna come in for Watertown. Hayden Reese comes home, and remember, it was the E5 that extended this inning, and now it is ballooned into this. Run coming in for Watertown, a 2-0 lead, and Nathan Briggs, for the second time, has reached on a walk. He'll get credited with the RBI as Rylance is to the plate. Last time out, first swing, RBI single. There is a strike for Ridge Leinbach. Great breaking ball. Count goes to 0-1, but he's obviously going to be frustrated after the way that last sequence just went down. Almost threw that one over the head of Simpson. Counts 1-1. This Watertown offense is relentless. They've been incredible as of late. They've scored double-digit runs in their last 6 games, folks. They know how to get on the attack, and so does Rylance. Here's a bouncing ball to short, and a great job by Dawson Getz to cover up that baseball and get the out at second base. He and Carter shuffle by and connecting to take care of Marcus Pitkin, and that'll send us to the top half of the third inning. Your score 2-0, Watertown on top. Nathan Briggs generating the bases loaded walk, but post 8 still in striking distance. Back in 1 minute on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Is it the competition that keeps bringing you back? The long-standing rivalries? Or is it seeing friends again and cheering on your favorite team? At First Dakota, we're here for it all. We appreciate the fans, the players, the coaches and officials, the concessions crew. The shared community experience is part of what makes life here great, and we're here for it. See you at the game. First Dakota National Bank, member FDIC.
For over 60 years, Ferding Electric has been powering homes and businesses across central South Dakota. When you need reliable electrical service, trust the experts with decades of experience. Whether it's a simple residential repair, a complex commercial installation, or even electrical work on your farm, Ferding Electric has you covered. And if you're tired of searching everywhere for that hard-to-find bulb, Ferding Electric carries a wide selection of bulbs, including those hard-to-find fluorescent and specialty options. Visit us at 2903 East Elizabeth Street or call today, 605-224-8684.
Welcome back to Post 8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. We've reached the top half of the third between Watertown Post 17 and Pierre Post 8. This has been a fun one so far, but Watertown has been in command. Post 8 thus far, batting-wise, have been pretty well stymied. Trevor Rounds will be leading off, the left fielder in this game, followed by Hudson Stosher and Carter Shufflebine. 8-9-1 due up in the order. Caden Rylance has been picking him up and putting him down so far. Fires in this pitch wide. Count goes to 1-0. Post 8 trying to get their first state tournament win in some time as Trevor Rounds gets hit hard by that pitch. Looked like near the collarbone, perhaps. He's walking around and seems to be relatively okay, but obviously somewhat shaken. Like he'll be able to dust off the cobwebs and make his way over to first. It's not the most comforting way to get on base, but Rounds will take it. Hit by a pitch that'll send him on to the first base bag. So now the tying run is at home plate with Hudson Stosher. Post 8, 17-11 in South Dakota play, 13-11 in games played. Remember, they had 4 forfeit wins from the Sturgis doubleheaders that they should have played. Ended up not because of forfeit by Sturgis. Post 8 with a team batting average of .309 on the season, 42 doubles, 3 home runs, and 172 ribbies. As that pitch is in for a strike, counts 0-1 on Hudson Stosher. His E5 just a second ago proved to be costly in that bottom half of the second. It extended the inning and allowed Watertown to eventually get their second run. But you can't think about that too much right now as, oh my goodness, somehow Rounds got back to first base. They almost caught him napping as Marcus Pitkin flung that thing over to Talon Jurgens and just about had to throw him out. Instead, the count's 1-1, and thankfully for Post 8 and Rounds, he gets to fight another day. But that's why you got to be careful on the base paths in those situations. Bunt shown and laid down right along the first base line. They're going to take the out at first base. Talon Jurgens gets it on Hudson Stosher, but the bunt does its job and sends Trevor Rounds on to second. So Post 8 now with a runner in scoring position with 1 down. Carter Shufflebine will be the next man up. He reached on a base on balls in the top half of the first inning, and he was quick to run. He dashed in a very ferocious manner to first base after the fact. Unfortunately, it seemed as though it was an effort to fire Post 8 up, just didn't quite generate the offense that Shufflebine was hoping for. But perhaps now he can get a repeat performance. Counts 1-0. Rylance fastball, little outside, counts 2-0. One guy you're not going to fool in certain situations like this is Carter Shufflebine. He's not one to be easily confused in these spots. Thinks very clearly on the field. That's ball 3, a little bit high, and Shufflebine doing a great job just letting the ball go by, spotting where it is, making the easy decision, putting himself in a spot to get on first base, perhaps without having to get a hit. And that's exactly what he's going to do. 4-pitch walk. Second straight time Shufflebine has gotten on base thanks to a base on balls. So still just 1 out, and runners at first and second for Pierre Post 8, as Sutton Sunshine will be the next man up. And Sutton, he's been, at times, you could argue, the best batter of the season for Pierre Post 8. .345 average, 29 RBIs, tied for the team lead with Ridge Limbach, 23 runs, 6 doubles, 38 hits, a homer, and a .445 slugging percentage. Sutton got that home run against Bismarck back on July 15th in Game 2 of that doubleheader. There's a strike. It's in there. Counts 0-1. By the way, we do have a couple of results. We know now that Rapid City Post 320 did indeed defeat Post 22, so the Hard Hats, favorites to win the state championship, are going to be in an elimination game tomorrow, the first game of the day. And it looks like that one will be against Renner, who lost to Brandon Valley earlier on, just before this game. Post 8, if they were to lose, would play at 1 o'clock tomorrow, but they're hoping to play in prime time instead. Swing and a miss as Sun and Shine dug for everything and caught nothing but oxygen. Counts 1-2. Post 8's got the tying run at first base. They just need one solid shot off of Rylance. The 1-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss. And Sun and Shine frustrated after the fact. It's out number 2. And that's one that you really needed to have in that spot, but Sutton Sun and Shine has now been struck out twice. 3 total strikeouts for Caden Rylance in this game as Dawson makes his way to the plate. Gets .360 average. He had 2 hits against Rylance in game number 1 of the first doubleheader. 36 hits on the season. .510 slugging percentage. 26 runs scored. As that pitch is in for a strike, counts 0-1. Currently at second is Rounds. Shufflebine is at first, and Getz just barely caught a little bit of that baseball to move the count to 0-2. But he almost probably wishes that he hadn't. Otherwise, it wouldn't be as contentious of a situation as it is right now. Counts 0-2, Getz on the verge. He's going to slap a ground ball into right field for a base hit. Rounds coming around. Here's the throw. It is bobbled and not in time. Rounds scores as the catcher dropped the ball. And this Post 8 crowd that has made the 3-hour, 20-minute drive from the west is feeling it. Post 8 has cut the deficit in half. Runners on second and third. And the catcher, Pitkin, couldn't hold on to the baseball. He had Rounds dead to rights. And he couldn't keep the baseball with himself. Allowed Rounds to score, put Getz at second, shuffle by at third. And now Post 8 is feeling a lot more confident than they were just a second ago. Count is 1-0 as Cooper Terwilliger is at the plate. The throw for Mitch Olson, by the way, in right field was ridiculous in that spot. Was able to get it to Pitkin, and again, if he could have just held on to the baseball and applied the tag, he would have gotten him, but he couldn't, and it allows Post 8 to have a chance to tie here. Terwilliger lets this pitch go by, counts 2-1. That's why you keep playing until the very last second, because you never know what's going to happen. Terwilliger swing and a miss. The pitch almost got by the catcher, Pitkin. Count moves to 2-2. This is a crucial at-bat for Terwilliger in Post 8. Cooper Terwilliger has been so good in two-out situations this season, and he can bring in a couple runs and give Post 8 the lead if he can get one to the outfield. Instead, he is struck out by Rylance, who is feeling it. Fired up with a victory shout after the fact. So Terwilliger strikes out swinging, but Post 8 able to get a run on the scoreboard. Dawson Getz bringing home Trevor Rounds thanks to a bobble by Marcus Pitkin. It's a one-run game heading to the bottom of the third. We'll be back in 1 minute's time with more Post 8 baseball action. You're listening to KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Venture Communications has deep roots in rural South Dakota. Venture now proudly provides fiber to the home with 100% of our customers, enabling them to enjoy super fast and reliable internet connections. We'd like the opportunity to keep you in touch with the people and resources that matter most. 100% fiber and 100% committed to rural South Dakota. Call Venture Communications today at 605-852-2224, 605-852-2224, or online at venturecom.net.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your healthcare is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner, they will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
Welcome back. This is Post 8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Our scoreboard tonight, as always, courtesy of the American Family Insurance Brittany Shuffle Buying Agency. Thank you, Brittany and American Family Insurance, for sponsoring our scoreboard each and every game. Post 8 down 2-1 to Watertown Post 17, but Dawson Getz and Trevor Rounds cutting the deficit in half just a second ago in that bottom half, or rather top half of the third inning. And now Watertown, the team that may be feeling the heat just a little bit, and I'm not talking about the heat outside, is actually kind of cooler after all the rain and cloud cover has been in today. Jonathan Lake at the plate, counts 2-0 already, and Leinbach, again, he has struggled with issuing walks in this game, and he's got to be careful. Find that strike zone. That's ball 3 just like that. And Leinbach has put himself behind the 8 ball in the first 2 innings thanks to issuing walks. It's, you could argue, cost him 2 runs now. And he's got to be careful to make sure it doesn't cost him a 3rd or 4th. There's a strike, just caught the corner on that one. Counts 3-1. Right now, Ridge has just got to settle in and not let the tempo he's been using dictate how he pitches. And that one is foul. Counts 3-2. That'll certainly help. Be impressive to overcome a 3-0 count, make it a potential strikeout situation. Count at 3-2 for Ridge Leinbach. Post 8, a tremendous turnaround story. 10-30 a season ago in River Iverson's first year. 10-30 to 22-14 this season. 17-11 in South Dakota play. Number 6 seed in the South Dakota Baseball State Tournament. And I think, as I said at the top of the broadcast, the biggest wild card in the entire tournament. You never know who they could upset or who they could possibly lose to. And that pitch is high by Leinbach. It's ball 4. Runner on first for Watertown as Jonathan Lake, for the second time in this game, able to draw a walk, and it's been, unfortunately, a staple for Leinbach in this game so far is the issuing of walks, and Watertown's made him paid more often than not. Trayton Hemrick is the next man up. He struck out looking, one of 3 straight strikeouts that Leinbach was able to get between the first and second innings. As he places this one wide, counts 1-0. Post-A crowd that has made the trip here to Watertown, urging on Ridge Leinbach, trying to push him into that next level that he needs to give his team a chance. Bunt shown and almost executed by Hemrick. Goes in for a strike. Count goes to 1-1. Good job by Leinbach to somehow keep that one away from Hemrick. Great crowd here tonight at the Watertown Baseball Stadium. Obviously the home contingent helping with that, but it is a tremendous atmosphere as, again, Hemrick tried the bunt and again was unsuccessful. It's going to be called for a strike after an appeal to the first base umpire, and that'll bring the count to 1-2. Now we'll see if Leinbach can finish the job and get a strikeout on Hemrick, make things a little bit tougher on the rest of this post-17 lineup, as Hemrick is going to take a moment. Watertown, a team also trying to reach that next level. Hadn't won a state tournament game in 8 years after or before last season. And Ridge Leinbach trying to make sure they don't win a state tournament game this year with a strikeout on Trayton Hemrick. Catches him looking for the second straight time. And that is the 4th total K for Leinbach in this game, and only fitting to hear Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train here at the ballpark tonight. RIP to Ozzy and the great music that he delivered to us over the years. I'm sure this is a baseball game that he would love to see. As that pitch comes in, counts 1-0. Baseball game that hopefully everyone would enjoy seeing. This has been a fun one so far. Even if you're not a fan of baseball, you got to appreciate the effort that these athletes are giving us here tonight. As that pitch comes in outside, counts 2-0. Talon Jurgens struck out looking against Leinbach last time up. Runner at first in Jonathan Lake. Leinbach trying to paint the outside corner. Umpire not giving him that call despite Leinbach, I guess, expecting him to. Counts 3-0. He's trying to test that far part of the corner, and he's just not getting that call. Gets it this time, though, and the Watertown fans and even Jurgens thought for sure it would be ball 4. It was not. So Jurgens, who was already making his way to first, has to step back in the box. Leinbach says, we're not done yet, but that is ball 4. Placed it wide, and that'll send Jurgens on to first. That's now, again, 2 straight walks, or 2 walks total issued in this bottom of the 3rd, putting runners on base, and it's been the familiar theme. Watertown hasn't had to do a whole lot. Leinbach has just been unsuccessful in consistently finding the strike zone, and if you do that here in this state tournament, it is not going to be a long tournament for the team you're playing for. So Leinbach will obviously have to get that under control. Puts this pitch in high, counts 1-0. Thing about Leinbach is that he doesn't let circumstances, as I mentioned before, get to him too often, and always seems to find a way in these circumstances to make the best of it. Bunt's laid down. This is going to be a foul ball. Counts 1-1. They were trying to load the bases with Cole Hansen, and he got a little tricky with it. Tried to go on the left side and had a good look to start, but Leinbach and Simpson wisely let it roll to the left of the third base line, bringing the count to 1-1. Lights are bright here at the Watertown Baseball Stadium. Final game of today's South Dakota Baseball State Tournament. Great atmosphere, great venue. Love what I've seen so far and can't wait for more tomorrow. And hopefully for several more days. As Leinbach places that one high. Count goes to 2-1. Post State with a team ERA this season of 4.37, 152 strikeouts. Bunt laid down and again fouled. That'll move the count to 2-2 as again it was Cole Hansen who's trying to lay down that bunt. He just can't quite put it in the perfect spot. And Post State, they're ready for it now. They expect it to happen. But I wouldn't doubt that the lefty Hansen won't try it again right here. We'll see what he goes for. Counts 2-2. One away in this bottom of the third. He is going to try that bunt. This time it's successful. Leinbach throws on to third, and they got the out. Great play by Leinbach. That is wise, Solomon-like baseball. Got it to Hudson Stosher. They get the out at third, and that is being aware of where you're at on the baseball field and not overthinking the situation. Leinbach could have tried to turn around and get it to first, but it was probably going to be a very hard ask, so instead just take the easy out at third. That's what you practice for. Leinbach did exactly what he needed to do, and he's able to get the out in that situation on Jonathan Lake. So runners at first and second, but that's not going to stand for too long as it's a wild pitch. Count goes to 1-0, and just like that, runners at second and third with 2 outs. So you can wipe away all that after Leinbach was able to get the out. Still no runs scored, but not a great position. Hayden Reese is at the plate, counts 1-0. Just seems like Leinbach has not been able to fully get control of his fastball in this game. Although he's trying desperately to. This one's high, counts 2-0. And the home plate umpire is not giving him a whole lot of leeway with this pitch. Here's a fly ball deep to center, back, and making the catch for Post State is Porter Hunsley. Well done for out number 3, and Post State, despite allowing more runners on base in the bottom of the third, they leave Watertown, frustratingly for them, once again empty. And the score remains 2-1. Post State, like a gnat, they're not going away, and they'll have a chance to tie this game in the top of the fourth. Back in 1 minute on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
YAG Air Incorporated is your locally owned ag chemical and seed retailer. YAG Air Incorporated offers reliable ground and aerial application. For the latest seed and chemical pricing, contact Kyle at 605-280-8710 or Tony at 605-280-4771. YAG Air for all your ag chemical and seed needs. Kyle 605-280-8710 or Tony 605-280-4771.
You just got a quote from a company and are now being billed for not choosing them. Many contracts have what's referred to as a contingency agreement. These typically state that if you don't go with them, you, after insurance has approved the repair work, will be charged a percentage of the job they quoted. Ask up front if they charge to provide an